Hey, Mike here from Upload Academy. Right, in this video I'm going to show you Terraform import and I'm going to show you Terraform state show. Now, why am I going to show you these things? Let me just describe a quick problem to you. So I am looking to implement App Runner in US West 2 in Oregon. So I want to run Upload Academy's courses inside of App Runner. I want to build a Docker image and I want to get App Runner to take care of it for me. Beautiful, that's what Platform as a Service is for. Great, really looking forward to that. But I am having some issues. So I am writing the Terraform code, I'm building the service, and then I'm attempting to attach an AWS IAM role to it so that it has permissions to talk to container registry and pull Docker images. But it's not quite working. So how do I debug that? So I've gone through lots of documentation, I've gone through lots of code examples, I've done lots of searching around, and I found various answers that haven't quite worked for me. So in order to help me debugging, it's not going to solve the problem, but it's going to really help me debug. I'm going to use two Terraform commands to basically get Terraform to not only import existing state for me, but I'm also going to get it to essentially write the code for me that makes that state work. Okay, let me show you this visually because explaining it might be a bit confusing, so let's just jump straight in. So I'm going to go over to my Mac and I'm going to go over to my VS Code. So I've written my service there, not going to go into any detail on that specifically, and that's the service that's not quite working. So how have I fixed this? How do I debug this? So what I've done is I've gone into the AWS console and I've got my service ARN here, right? So I've come into the console and I've deployed the App Runner manually using the web console. Then I'm just going to copy this ARN. I'm going to come back over to Visual Studio Code, and then I'm going to bring up the terminal and I'm going to import that resource. Okay, I'm going to go Terraform import AWS app runner underscore service dot cloudops level 1. Now the reason I can override the line just above the terminal on line 14 that you can see is because that resource doesn't exist in the state because it's erroring when I'm attempting to create it. So it hasn't been added to the state. So if I want to override, well, not override per se, if I want to basically say, well, I tell you what, that service actually already exists, that resource already exists, I'm going to import it, and here's the ARN. So if we hit enter, Terraform will use my already authenticated terminal here. It'll use the AWS API. It will go and fetch all the state about that service, and then it'll import it into its state file. Now what we can do is we can go Terraform state show, AWS underscore app runner underscore service dot cloudops level 1. Okay, and what that's going to do is basically going to write our code for us, quite frankly. Now what I can do is I can come in and I can use this information to debug any problems that I'm having with my code. Because I can look at this code, I can bring it out the terminal. Okay, I can copy it, I can bring it out the terminal, and I can bring it in here, and I can just save the file and it'll format it nicely for me. But what I want to do now is I want to use this to essentially debug my own code. I can't quite use this code as is. If you try and run it, it will complain. However, it can be used for debugging. So I just wanted to show you that as a quick way of debugging your code and trying to work out why your Terraform code isn't working against the AWS API. This is great for RDS, CloudFront, and those really big services that have lots and lots of configuration backing them. Go to AWS console, create it, create a resource in your Terraform code, import the state, Terraform state show, the address inside of your Terraform resource, and then it writes the code for you, and then you can use that to inform your own code that you then write. What I would recommend you then do once you're ready is you go back into the terminal and you do Terraform state rm remove AWS app runner service dot cloudops level 1. Of course, for you it'll be whatever the resource type is dot whatever the name of the resource is. I'm going to get Terraform to essentially remove that for me now, because obviously I've got a duplicate source in here. It's the linter is obviously complaining, so that's why it's saying here you've duplicated it. So all I've got to do is just save the file with that commented out and then get it to just basically remove that from the state, because we don't want it to actually manage the one that we created inside of the console, although you can do that as well. That is also an option. So hopefully that's been really interesting. Please let me know in the comments below if you've got a better way of doing that, or how you debug your Terraform code. And if you head over to upload.academy, we've got a community, a great community on Discord called the DevOps Lounge. You can go to discord.gg/DevOps Lounge as well. Come in and let me know. Let me know what you think of the video. Let me know what you think of this little trick. Let me know if you've used it successfully. I'd love to hear from you. Cheers. See you later.